Hello and welcome to Creativity with DA3 Live. I'm your host, Don Allen III. And today we're going to be, hello. I have the webcam turned on here. We're live streaming to YouTube with you guys now. And we're live streaming to Instagram. I got the phone right down there. Oh my God, I just dropped the phone. We're live streaming to multiple places. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to turn this illustration. This illustration was done by an artist named Stephanie Tam. Check out her Instagram. I'll be linking her Instagram stuff onto various pages. But we're going to be working on this illustration, and what we're going to do is animate it. We're going to animate her character, and we're going to talk about the ways that an illustrator can make animation easier for the animator, because this is what's up. This is what's up. I work with Stephanie, and she's awesome totally awesome to work with, and we've been meaning to collaborate. So here we are. So welcome to the show. Let's get started. If you're watching this on Instagram, if you want to see it on YouTube, just click the link in my bio and it will take you straight to my screen. Okay, cool. So we downloaded her file. We added a blink layer in here. Oh my God, I just dropped the phone again. I don't know where my tripod is for the phone, so that's why the phone's just going to keep falling throughout the night. What's up? Welcome. Oops. All right, so we downloaded the layer. Let's get started. Don't save, and that's my thumbnail for the video. So what we're going to do first and foremost is just open up the file that she gave us in Photoshop. The reason why I want to start off the tutorial this way is because you have to see how organized this is. This is going to make animation a breeze. So if you look carefully, we got our layers panel over here. We're inside of Adobe Photoshop now. And first off, you're going to notice that every layer is labeled. That's already super helpful. But more specifically, everything that we're going to animate is on its own layer, which means it's like easy. Okay, so we got our eyebrows, we got left blink, eye left, right blink, right eyebrow, everything separated. Now let's go down to the nose. Perfect. We got a mouth separated from the layer. We got the head. Awesome. Right hand is just holding the color palette. We have our left. Oh wow, she even got her right arm, shoulder. That's great. We got a torso, left hand. This is perfect. Look at that. The leg is already separated. I mean, this is going to make animating such a breeze. It's going to be great. That's why I think we're going to be able to do this tutorial in like an hour, because it's so organized. And I'm just looking around at the different assets. She has the unicorn painted here on its own layer, the paper's on its own layer, the easel, I can't pronounce that word, whatever, the thing that you use to hold up a canvas. Edsel? We got her signature there, stam, and then our background. This is perfect. So what we're gonna do now, I like to go through the Photoshop file first to make sure that it looks good. And this looks super polished. If I receive this from a customer, I would just be like, I'm gonna have a very happy time animating your project. Hey, what's up, Jonathan and Diego? Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna bring this Photoshop file into Adobe AfterEffects, because Adobe AfterEffects, maybe you didn't know this, but Adobe AfterEffects supports bringing in a full-on Photoshop file. It will allow you to give it a Photoshop file, and AfterEffects will recognize all the layers that are in there, which is, this is huge, because that means someone who works as an illustrator in Photoshop can just give you their file, and then they don't have to animate it. They can give it to a designer, motion designer who does animate, and they could be in their own worlds, but yet the project file itself communicates with itself. And that's where the magic really is. I'm just going to, before we jump too far into this, I want to make sure that our live stream is still working on YouTube. So I'm going to just check on YouTube, make sure that the stream is healthy and has audio. Jump too far into this. Yes, it does. Okay, cool. Wonderful. So we're inside of Adobe AfterEffects, and I'm going to start off with a brand new project. Ta-da! We're in a new project. We're going to go up to the composition, and we don't need a new composition yet. We're going to bring in her Illustrator or her Photoshop file. So this is our project menu here. If we hit Command I, that's the import shortcut, and we can go look for it, which in this case we just downloaded it. So there it is, Artist Kid Layers version 3, and we just take a look. This is an important thing to look at. dimensions. It's 1280 by 1280, which is perfect for our project. It's going to be a nice square animation. Hit open. Now here's the next thing. When you open up a Photoshop file, it's going to give you two options. You can either bring it in as an editable layer style, or you can merge all the layers together to be one slapped on image. Because we're going to be animating this Photoshop file, I want the editable layer style selected. And we're going to import it as a composition that retains the layer sizes so that when we rotate things, it all stays nice and snug together. There it goes. We hit OK, importing the selected items. And there it is over in our project panel, our Artist Kid Layers 3. And it's given that icon. That's our composition icon inside of After Effects. So we can click it and look at that. All those layers that we just identified in Photoshop are now all just chilling right inside of Adobe After Effects. And we got this eyeball icon. When we close and open the eyeball icon, this will allow us to turn on off the layer just like it was in Photoshop. So this is good. So let's start animating. So the first thing I want to do is I'm actually going to start separating my layers even more detailed. So what I'm going to do is hide my background and just background elements. I'm also going to hide the Etzel, the paper, and the unicorn, and the paints. I just want to see just her character. And I'm going to kind of bring this down here. What we're going to do is kind of just zoom in, center the illustration into the center of your canvas. And what we're going to do with this character is we're going to start changing where the anchor points are. Now what an anchor point is where the object is being informed that its centered position is. By default, anchor points are at the perfect center of their object. But since I want, like, let's give an example. Her left hand, no, let's do an arm. Her arm left, arm L, right? If we look at our layer and we hit the shortcut S to bring up our scale tool, if we were to scale her arm, you see how it scales from the elbow point? It's kind of weird. Maybe a better example is to bring up the rotation tag by hitting R. Seeing right now, if we rotate her elbow, it's rotating from the center elbow, and it just doesn't make sense. Her arm should be rotating from the shoulder. So this is an instance where we'll grab the anchor point tool, and we'll move the anchor point to where it should be pivoting on our actual subject. So in this case, I'm going to move it to her shoulder. And so now we can see that the right arm kind of moves in the right spot. And so what I like to do when I'm animating a character inside of inside of After Effects, is I go through each body part and adjust its anchor point to the right spot that it should be rotating from. So for example, let's move the body anchor point to maybe somewhere towards the lower groin. We go to our right arm, and let's move that anchor point to be her shoulder as well, right about there. You can kind of think about this as putting in like little pins on a piece of paper. And if you put the pin right here on the elbow, that's not going to rotate. Well, actually, we do want one if we want it to bend the elbow. But if we wanted to rotate the arm, we wouldn't put a pin right here. We'd put a pin right in the shoulder. And that's what the anchor point is. We're telling it where to be anchored to. So with the right hand, for example, I'm going to anchor that to her right wrist. For the head, we're going to anchor it right to where her neck is. So we'll go to the head layer, move our anchor point right there to the neck, kind of chin region, so that it will kind of rotate it right around there. We can always test it out. And you see that when we move stuff around, nothing stays linked. That's going to be our next step on how we get everything to move consistently. But we're still just in the step of anchor points. I don't need to change the anchor points of the eyes because they're not going to be scaling or rotating. They're just going to be turning off and on, so we can leave them. The eyebrows I probably will move though, so we will grab the anchor point of our eyebrows and put them to be somewhere in between the eyebrows. Cool. And actually, I will move the nose and mouth, I think. Did I import the wrong layer? Oh no, I did. I need the one with her blink in it. I think I import the wrong... oh no, that's the right one. What's going on? Let me bring every layer back. Huh. Hang on one second, folks. Think I'm missing something. Let me bring in this other layer here. This is the one that has the blink in it. You can also just drag icons in. Let me hit OK. Ah, this is the one I want to work with. My bad. That was version 3 that I was working on. We want version 4 because she brought in a blink. But no worries, we didn't get too far, so I'm just going to go back through. And actually this one's even better because all of the anchor points are pretty much where I would want them. So it's actually, we didn't lose much time at all. I will move the anchor point of the head though from the center of the forehead to be more towards the neck so that we can kind of get that rotation going. Alright, moving forward, taking a look. Welcome Ernest on Instagram, and we're live streaming to YouTube right now. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Okay, let's go to our body. I'm going to put the body's anchor point to be, again, mid-groin, lower groin, right around here. Arm left. Same idea. Let's put that pin right where we want it to rotate from. Hand right, hand right. Okay, let's go. Or that's hand left. We'll move that right to the wrist right there. Leg right. So this process is the start of what's called rigging, character rigging. And so I'm just going, we're creating all the anchor points that we want this character to work off of. So you see how if we were to rotate it now, that's going to rotate in a little bit better spot than if it wasn't. Alright, so kind of just going through. For the hair layer, what we're going to do is move the anchor point to be right in the center of the face so that if we were to rotate the hair, it will kind of be in place. It will be attached to the head. Alright, we'll go to our paint. Oh, I'm going to hide those for now. We don't need those yet. We're going to hide the background elements. I just want to look at the character. Okay, cool. So when I click through everything now, we see that we have anchor points that pretty much match where we would want them to be. And this is important because the next step is we're going to be parenting layers together. So here's what parenting, here's what that is and why we need it. So for example, if I wanted to rotate her left arm right now, which has its anchor point in the wrong spot, let me put that right there. If we wanted to rotate her right arm right now, what happens is her arm does rotate correctly, which we want. That looks right. But notice how the paint palette that's in her hand just kind of stays floating right there. The reason why that paint palette is floating is not only is it on its own separate layer, but it's not linked to anything. So to link that paint palette in her hand to her right arm, we need to parent that object to that layer. So the parenting icon in After Effects is this little twirly spiral tool. So you can click it, and so I'm grabbing the twirly thing of the right hand and I'm attaching it to her right arm. Now if we rotate our right arm, we can see that the color palette stays fixed to her hand. And this only works because we're just telling it to use its position data and rotational data of the layer that it's parented to. So for example, the mouth, nose, right eye, right blink, all the stuff in the face, I'm going to grab all those layers together, grab the twirly line tool, and parent them to the head. So that now when we rotate the head of our character, her whole face stays attached. We're also going to want to parent her hair to her face. So we're going to attach the twirly thing to the head. I usually like to go into, at this point, and start colorizing my layers because it helps me stay organized as an animator, and also just helps any other person down the line if I were to hand off this project file to them to colorize things. So for example, the head is going to be animated a lot, so I'm going to actually change this layer color to orange. It could be any color. I like orange right now, but it can really be anything. Another layer that we're going to animate quite a bit are the body. So, or everything's going to be linked to the body in the end. So I'm going to go ahead and just change this to fuchsia, just so I can visually see things. Also, all the things that are on the face, I'm just going to change them to be a solid color that's different. So I'm going to make everything a yellow layer that's attached to the face. We'll make all of her hands and arms. We'll make them their own color as well. Let's do a sandstone. And then I'll leave everything else the same for now. Cool, so let's take the arms, for example, and let's link them up correctly. So we can always just grab a layer, hit the shortcut R to bring up its rotation, and see how it rotates, and it looks good. So let's link her left hand with the twirly tool to the left arm. And now we can redo that test, and now the paintbrush sticks with the arm. Cool. Same idea, we're gonna go to the right hand. Oh, it's already parented, so we got the right hand. So now we're gonna take the right arm and the left arm, grab both of these, and these need to be parented to the character's body, which is our pink layer here. So we grab the pick whip tool, it's that twirly line thing, and just have it drag to the body. So now if we were to just move the body, oops, I made an error, let's go back. My eye is itchy for some reason. Okay. We're gonna grab our left arm. There it is. Yeah, we're gonna have arm L and arm R, so our right and left arm. We grab the twirly line tool and we're going to parent them to the body. So now if we move our body, we'll see that the arms stay fixed to it. And this is super essential because now if we decide to move the character's body, the arms don't just pop off the shoulders and just start floating up in the space. That would be really not fun to I mean, that could be fun to animate. But my goal is to not make a zombie character. We're going to make a human living character. And it's cool. So now she's moving. We're now going to parent the head layer to the body by dragging again the twirly line tool, putting it right to the body there. So then if we rotate the body, check this out. Now everything rotates together, and that's what we want. That's what's good. Okay, now let's take the leg layers. I want the legs to be parented to the body, even though I'm going to be rotating them separately. So for that, we're going to take the leg L and the leg R. I like how Stephanie organized it that way, because normally I organize things by saying like right this or left this, but it makes sense to first identify what the object is and then identify its direction. So I can kind of just look down my layers here and see leg, and then I'm like, oh, R, or leg, L. So shout out to Stephanie for her organizational skills. Love working with organized illustrators. Okay, so we're gonna put this, we're gonna drag the left leg and the right leg and attach them to the body. So we're pretty much done with the linking, the main linking. So now the body kind of controls everything. If we change the position of the body, it all looks like it's all one piece. But it's strategically not, because now everything is on its own layer. All right, so this is fun, this is fun. Just do a quick recap. We checked this file first in Photoshop, we opened it up, looked at all the layers, made sure everything looked good, and it looked great. Then we brought it into After Effects. We made sure that we retained all of our layers and their sizes, so we did not merge the layers. They're all separated. Then we went through and we changed our anchor points. The next step we did was we parented the different body parts to the core thing. So now we can really start to do one or two things. We can start animating. Actually, I think that, no, that's it. That's what we can do now. We're done. We can animate now. That's how this works. Let's go ahead and just check in on Instagram, YouTube things. Cool. Is the audio still working? Sometimes it turns off. That's it. All right, cool. So it's good. So we got a character that's pretty much parented and ready to be animated. While I'm here, I'm going to take all the elements that are not the character. I'm going to copy them. Just going to copy these layers. Command C, delete them, and we're going to go and put those on its own composition. So we'll do a new composition. We're going to make it 1280 pixels by 1280 because this is going to match the resolution of the illustration, and it's the resolution that I want to export it into later on. It's going to be a square, and we have it at 30 frames per second. We might be changing that, but for now I'll leave it at 30 and we'll hit OK. I'm going to paste that in. So now we have all of our background elements are all on the background layer, and then we have this other layer that has basically our whole character rigged together. So I'm going to relabel this character. The shortcut is Command K to bring up our thing. That's called Artist Kid Layer 4. I'm going to call this Artist Kid Rigged because this layer is rigged, and that's a green light to be animated. So we have it rigged now. And cool, so we got our artist kid rigged. We're gonna bring the artist kid rigged into our composition that we just made. And now we can kind of just move it as its own composition. And if we wanted to have her animate, we totally can now because she's all rigged. So let's start animating our character. First thing I'm going to do is kind of work on and on some blink cycles. I'm going to have her blink. So what I mean by that is we've got our left and right. So to create a blink, I'll start off with her eyes open. And then they're gonna go, and they're gonna close, and then you have a blink. That's and so I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that layer. Oh, that's her eyebrows. Don't want to delete eyebrows. The left eye. Oh, okay, that's her blink layer. Wow, she labeled everything. This is beautiful. Left and right eye. Man, she's just making it easy. Cool. So now look at this. We have eyes that are open, and that's these two layers, and then they're gonna blink. Blinks usually last for a short amount of time. I like to kind of accentuate blinks a little bit longer than I need to, but you know, everyone has their own preference. I'm gonna make the blinks a different color. Let's go with brown again, just so it kind of does some visual separation. So now she'll kind of have her eyes open, and let's make the blinks a little bit more frequent. So 1 Mississippi blink. Like, yeah, so we'll do 1 second and we'll blink. So we'll grab those two layers. She blinks. That's a very long blink. How about we do half that time? So what we'll do is we'll take this character and we'll move her blink duration to a half a second. And then instead of her eyes disappearing afterwards, we'll return back to the left and right eye layer. And so we can kind of recycle this this pose, this kind of on-off eye thing. And let's just kind of take a look at that. Cool, so we got a nice little blink in there. Just a very subtle. Blinking animations are helpful because they kind of bring life into a character very quickly. A lot of people, when they look at a character for the first time, oh, hello, Xjoy, welcome to Creativity with D83 Live. We're live streaming to YouTube and to Instagram. And right now we're working on a blink cycle for our character. I think it's good. We'll just put 2 blinks. Cool, that works for now. So we got these 2 blinks. What I'm going to do, since I'm going to loop this blinking thing over and over again, I'm going to grab all the layers of her eyes open plus the eyes blinked together. I'm actually going to copy one more of these before I do that. I'm going to just make another layer right here. Put that right there and extend the duration just a little bit. Yeah, just right there. I'm going to grab all of this and I'm going to pre-compose it. Pre-composing is like making a set of layers, their own group together within a layer. So I want to have her eyes continuously blinking. And so this is a great thing to pre-compose because we have one blink cycle, then we can copy the cycle a few times, and then we'll have the blink cycle without having to have a lot of messy character layers and stuff. So I'm going to call this layer blink underscore cycle. And hit OK. There we go. And then we can see that if we just play this, we have just her eyes and they're blinking. And it's fun. It's easy. We just got a blink cycle. So let's go back to our artist kid rigged layer. And we can take this layer now and duplicate it a bunch of times. I'm hitting Command D to duplicate. Then I go from top to bottom, make a selection. We do keyframe assistant and do sequence layers and hit OK. And that will kind of stagger them all throughout the duration of time. So now our character will continuously blink because we have all these copies of her blink cycle repeating over and over again throughout the process. Cool. Next thing, let's give her head some movement. So all these blink layers need to be linked now to her head layer. So I'm going to delete these extra blinks. We don't see them past 40 seconds. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab all these blinks and we're going to use the pick whip tool and link them to the head layer. So now, if we were to rotate the head, which we're going to be doing in a millisecond, her eyes that blink will also stick with her, which is important. Because if we didn't do that little linking thing right there, we would have rotated her head and then her eyeballs would stay fixed, floating in space, which maybe you want that effect, but I don't, not right now. So that's kind of what we're doing. What's up, Jeremy Papas? We're live streaming to YouTube right now, and it's an animation tutorial, and it's recorded to YouTube. This is what we're working on. This is the character right here, and we make her blink now, so she can blink. That's what she's doing. And we're going to make her paint as well. We've got lots of stuff planned, so feel free to join here or there. Okay, cool, we got the blinking. Next, we're going to do some head movements. So, not too drastic. We don't want to do that. We don't want her head to flip around. So what we want to do is find just the right amount of degree angles. I'm going to just zoom in here. And we hit the stopwatch button to start animating. It's like a keyframe. And then we can go a little bit into the future and have her chin come forward. Maybe it holds there for a little bit. Put another keyframe. And then maybe her head goes kind of back to the other side. Alright, so if we kind of just play that forward. Alright, so that's very slow and creepy. We don't want the movement to be slow and creepy. We want the movement to feel natural and flowy. So I'm going to kind of shrink the amount of time that took. Part of the thing that makes things look more natural is if we ease between them. So if you can ease the motion by going to right-click on the layers, go to Keyframe Assistant and do Easy Ease, or Ease In, Ease Out. I currently use a plugin that's, I think it's free, called Motion 2, and it allows you to kind of speed up that process instead of going to a lot of menus. So I'm just going to have her ease in and out on those head movements. So now the head kind of tilts in. That second one was a little too fast, so I'm going to kind of slow that one down. Still a little bit too fast, also too dramatic. So we're going to bring it down from 8 degrees to maybe -1 degrees. I'm also going to bring my loop preview here by hitting N. Think of it like the start, and the N is like the letter N, and it will kind of just loop this little section here. There we go. So we kind of got this nice little head movement here. And since we want this to loop at the end, we want to make sure that it ends at the same degree angle that it started. So this kind of makes her head tilt and lean in and lean out. I'm going to have her head tilt back just a little bit more right here, maybe about 5 degrees. There we go. So now she kind of has a little bit of head movement. And now we're going to do a little JavaScript expression. But don't get scared away. JavaScript is complicated, but this one isn't. This one's an This one's an easy JavaScript expression that helps you to loop your animations and save you some time. So I want this set of motion to loop. We could do the same method of the blinking thing and just make a pre-comp and then copy it a bunch of different times, like all those blue layers. But since this one's just very keyframe heavy, keyframe driven animation, this one's easier to actually just type in a JavaScript expression. So to bring up your JavaScript expressions, you go to the stopwatch and you Alt-click on it, or Option click on it if you're on a PC. And it's gonna look scary. You get a warning thing. It's like, yo, this thing, and it looks all scary. It doesn't have to be scary. What you're gonna do is, if it's in the red words, that means it's ready to be coded. And I'm going to type in this expression. You feel free to copy and paste it. It's loop, L-O-O-P, capital O-U-T, so loop out. And then you put 2 parentheses and 2 quotation marks between them. And we write ping pong. And what this is going to do is it's going to ping pong this keyframe data. It's going to look at this keyframe here, and then it's going to play all that animation. And then when it reaches this keyframe, it's going to play that all backwards. And it's going to do that forever, or at least every point after this time. That's what a loop out ping pong does. We also could change this. Instead of ping pong, this is another JavaScript expression. You could do loop out cycle. And what this one would do is it would play this keyframe, this keyframe, this one, this one, this one, and then instead of bouncing backwards and playing all of them in reverse, this one would just treat it like a cycle. It would play all of these, and then it would go back, and then it would play all these again, and then it would go back. And as you can imagine, it's going to just keep looping it around. I'm going to do ping pong for now. But, you know, either one works. And now, if we extend our timeline viewer, you'll notice that even though we only animated 5 keyframes of head movement, her head is now going to move forever, as long as the timeline plays. I think there was a little bit of an unnatural movement somewhere in there too. I'm going to kind of adjust it. Yeah, right here looks a little creepy when she tilts her head a little bit too slowly. I'm going to speed that one up right there. Hello, Joy from YouTube! Is that what you said? Say hello, Joy from YouTube. Hey, what's up, Robert? We are live streaming onto YouTube right now. Sorry for those of you that are on YouTube right now and you keep hearing me say this. We're animating this character. This is an illustration that was done by Stephanie Tam, and we're just in the starts of animating this illustration. If you want to see the tutorial, feel free to join me on YouTube or here. I'll kind of just talk everything verbally here, but yeah, because I don't have my tripod for the phone tonight. Okay, head movements, they're all right. Next thing we got to do is hair movement. So imagine hair has weight and it has volume. So if this character, which has long hair, was to tilt her head to the left, the hair should not tilt left with it. The hair should kind of tilt right because it should always be pointed towards the ground because of gravity. I assume there's gravity. So what we're going to do to make the hair movement correct is we're going to find all the spots where the head rotates, and we're going to create a complementary opposite movement of the hair so that it's always aimed downwards. So let's go to our hair layer, and we'll hit our R for the rotation tag. We'll set a keyframe, and I'll start with the hair kind of swooped up like this. When the head tilts down just like that, I'm going to angle the hair downwards right there. When the head tilts back up, I'm going to also tilt the hair the opposite direction. I want to essentially keep the hair aimed towards the ground all the time. And then at the very end it will have a loop. So let's see if that looks correct. Alright, so that's a little robotic. We're going to add some easing between those keyframes. So there we go. Just added a little bit of easing between the two. Saludar, welcome Roberto. Oh, okay, that was a little, I don't like that last movement. I think since this character was illustrated with the hair kind of in motion, we're going to need to simulate that movement. We're going to need to simulate that movement in After Effects. So what I'm going to do to kind of bring the reason why her hair goes up is I'm thinking she should kind of swoop her hair with her neck movement. And like for right here, maybe it would make sense of it not going straight down, but rather it overshoots to the right because of the swing. Yeah, see, there we go. It overshoots, and then kind of comes back down. And then when it comes back here, whoa, the phone just fell down. Hang on one second. Whoops, sorry about that, folks. I really need that tripod back. I use it too much to have the phone drop all this time. All right, so we got this hair movement again. That last hair movement is the only one that doesn't quite make sense yet, but we'll fix that. So I'm thinking, what would make her hair go up like this? We can grab all the head movements and just slow everything down too. So let's kind of just grab that around. Still, the hair is swinging just a little too much. Kind of bring that back down here. And the last one just doesn't make sense at all. So I'm actually going to delete that last keyframe and keep the hair back down and see if that looks okay. So she's like this, hair swinging. Okay, so maybe the animation could just start with the hair kind of swooping in place, and then it will kind of follow suit. Yeah, okay, that kind of works. Let's now take the same JavaScript expression, copy it, hold Option and click on our rotation and paste it. And so now we'll have the hair that kind of moves and loops out forever. There we go. So now we have a head movement. I'll show you guys on Instagram. Now the hair kind of swings around and moves with the character as she blinks. And it's just this infinite loop. And it's all linked together with a little bit of JavaScript and parenting. Cool. Next, what I want to do is add a little bit of swivel to the body. I just want her body to kind of move a little bit to just add a little bit more life to the scene. So, but not too much. I mean, we're talking maybe 2 to 3 degrees of movement. So we'll go to the body layer, and we'll give it a quick, not a position change, but we'll give the body a rotational change of a few degrees. You're going to see at the feet kind of, actually, you know what, I'm going to unlink the legs from the body, because it looks weird if the body rotates and then the legs rotate with it. The legs should stay kind of fixed, so I'm going to take the legs off the parenting of the body so that the body and upper torso will move separately from the legs. So we got our left and right leg, and I'm going to turn off their parenting. Done. So now the body will rotate and it won't affect the legs rotational position. Cool. And then we'll just do a set of keyframe, and I'll go forward maybe 5 frames and set another keyframe. And I'll just kind of tilt this one up about, oh, that's 6 degrees. That might be a little bit too much. Let me just do about +3 degrees. There we go. Look at that. All right, cool. So we got a little bit of, hey, hello, Hallison Designer. We're on YouTube right now. We're live streaming how to bring this illustration to life. This illustration was made by Stephanie Tam. And right now we're just adding movement. Let me make sure that we're still live streaming onto YouTube. Oh, we are. Hey, what's up, Wade? And the kitty. Hello. Oh my God, the geeky kitty. What's up? You're on YouTube and on a live stream. How are you on both of these at the same time? Teach me your ways. Welcome to the show. We are live streaming everywhere. Oh my God. I don't have a tripod for the phone right now, and I keep dropping it, and I apologize in advance because I know it creates a nice loud audio spike. That's not pleasant, so my bad for the phone dropping. But join me on YouTube. A little bit better audio and full screen HD. All right, cool. So we got this movement. Let me make sure we can still see the comments. I'll check the comments more frequently on YouTube. Sorry if I missed them earlier. Wade and Joy. Cool. So we got this movement. You see how we have a nice little body movement now, kind of tilts, and it gives the excuse of why the hair is swinging. So what we'll do is we'll keep the body there for a moment. We'll set another keyframe, and then we'll go forward, and then we'll have the body tilt back the other way. So we'll go -2 degrees. And so what this creates is just a little bit of just more movement to the scene. I'm now going to grab those 2 layers and add easing to them, so they kind of, we'll do very soft easing, like 22% easing. So they just kind of move into the next layers, and I'll also loop this one as well. We'll do a cycle loop. Hey, what's up, Gabo? Welcome to Creativity with DA3 Live. Today, we are working on YouTube and on Instagram, animating a character. 2018, all about more collaborations with folks, and that's what we're doing right now. Oh my God, it's 8:42. We gotta get this going. I'm trying to get this out of here at 9:30. So that's like 15. I can't do math. 15. That's sometime between 15 and 35 minutes. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab these keyframes. We have her body rotation, and we will go ahead and hit the Alt option, and we'll type in a JavaScript expression. It's loop out with a capital O. You can't forget the capital O. If you forget the capital O, it's not going to know that it's JavaScript. It just thinks you're just writing random letters. It won't know. You have to give it a capital O. JavaScript is very picky about the way it likes to be spoken. Loop out, and we'll do cycle, C-Y-C-L-E. Now check this out. Those keyframes are now going to cycle, and that's the rotational axis of the body. So it's going to keep cycling that animation over and over again. It's different than ping pong, because ping pong will take all your animation data and then replay it backwards, and then we'll keep doing it like a ping pong ball. Cycle is like a bicycle, a wheel that returns. I don't have a good metaphor for cycling for some reason. We'll come up with that later. Let's take a moment to save the project where we're at, because you know, you gotta save these things because it can crash. We'll call this collab artist. I don't know. I'll come up with a better name later. This is just temporary saving. Save. Cool. All right, so we got the hair movement, we got some body movement. I think it looks kind of cute that she's like standing on one leg a little bit. So I'm thinking maybe with her right leg, we can have the right leg kind of balancing and kind of lifting up and down. So let's grab the right foot, the leg R. Oh, that was labeled incorrectly, but that's okay. I don't mind. Let's grab this leg. Cool. And we'll just add just a little rotation to the foot. It's not the foot, because it's just like the leg and the foot are almost one entity, which makes it easier to animate. So thank you. We'll go ahead and just move a little bit with the foot. Have the foot kind of kick up a bit. And then we'll have a balance for a little bit. We can even add, you know what? We can add another JavaScript expression. We can do the wiggle expression. Check this out. We can wiggle the rotation of the foot so that it's randomized movement, but we can choose how random you want it to be and by how big is the fluctuation. So here's the wiggle expression. We hit Alt on the stopwatch, and I'm not kidding. This is literally JavaScript. You ready for this? It's wiggle, W-I-G-G-L-E. Oops, L-E. You put 2 parentheses like that, and then in them, the first number is the intensity of the wiggle, and the second number is by how many pixels. So this is 12 wiggles per second by 3 pixels. So what it will look like if I zoom out and play it, it's going to look kind of chaotic, so be careful. Look at this. Now the leg looks like it's twitching because it's wiggling 12 times by about 3 degrees. That's chaotic. I don't want her leg twitching. So what we want to do, instead of 12 by 3, maybe it just wiggles 2 times a second by maybe, I don't know, 10 degrees? 10 degrees might be fine. Let's see. So here's 2 wiggles per second by 10 degrees on that foot. I actually kind of like that. Maybe we'll bring it down from 10 degrees to something like 8. 8 degrees might be better. Oh, is that French? Oh no, that's Spanish. Valeu tejo que ir suceso y arguando otro video a vivo. Something about successful green out videos about life. I'm not good at reading in other languages, so I'm a very bad translator. I apologize for completely not understanding how to say that correctly. Let me just check on YouTube real quick. iPhone and laptop. Oh, that is really cute. Oh, yay! Thank you, Joy, the geeky kitty. All right, cool. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Now we have about 8 degrees of movement of the leg, and it kind of just kicks around. I like it. All right, time to animate the arms. The part that I think I'm excited to animate the most because it's the arms of the artist. We're going to animate them. So what we're going to do, we're going to collapse everything. I'm going to select all my layers and hit S twice. That just squishes everything together. We got our blink cycles. That's cool. Don't need those right now. Let's go to the arms, the arm layers. So we got our arm left. Right? Yeah, we have our left arm. And I'm just going to have this arm painting up and down, just kind of a pretty fluid movement. Maybe. I'm trying to think how she paints. I haven't seen Stephanie paint before. I wonder, does she paint more like soft strokes or more like aggressive? I don't know. I'm going to have to just guess. I'm gonna assume that they're kind of fluid strokes because when I look at her artwork, we can see a lot of really smooth lines. So I'm guessing that her movements would have to mimic kind of smooth curves when she illustrates. So what that means on my end is I'm gonna expand the length of the arm movement so that the arm kind of slowly goes through a brush stroke. And we're gonna ease those movements in by using our Motion 2 tool. So now if we just look at the right arm, it kind of just eases. Ooh, that was actually way too fast. Let me double that time. There we go. Look at that. Just that smooth stroke with the right hand. So smooth. Oh, okay? Stephanie, the artist of this illustration, is live streaming on YouTube, on Instagram. So many social media channels. She says she illustrates smooth. So what we're gonna do with your arm, Stephanie, is we're gonna make your arm smooth. This is what I mean by smooth. Smooth. And then what we're gonna also do is we're gonna make the rotation of the wrist be off time a little bit so that the arm moves and then the wrist moves. This will make it look more realistic, because if you look at how my arm moves, I move my arm for, actually, depends on what you're doing. I think for this one, I'm gonna have her arm move first and then have the wrist follow. So let's kind of just get that movement there. That's a nice brush stroke down. Let's pause it there for a moment, and then we'll return it back up. So this one we'll just do with 2 keyframes, and we're gonna use, again, one of my favorite expressions inside of After Effects in JavaScript. It is that loop out expression. I gotta tell you, I use it like every day. I think I'm not even kidding about that. I think I use this every day. Here's the expression, loop, capital O-U-T. Can't make it be lowercase. It will break your things. Loop out, and then we'll do, what's the word? Cycle? We want to cycle that? No, we want it to ping pong. So their arm goes up, and then it goes down, and then it goes up, and then it goes down. So we'll go ping pong. There we go. Loop out, ping pong. Let's check this out now. Her arm slowly paints up strokes, down strokes, and it's continuous. So she's just painting along, doing her thing. Next, we're going to do is change the wrist rotation to match the arm movements while she's painting. So let us begin. Hello, Rohan. Oh, I do use Duik. Duik would be helpful here. However, Duik works best when you have completely vectorized images, meaning they only exist of data and not rasterized images with texture. Her brushstrokes have texture in them, which I love the style and look. However, this makes it difficult for Duik to bend without creating lots of chromatic errors and aliasing. I would have used Duik if the image was completely vectorized, but it's not, so I would rather just kind of animate most of it by hand. But Duik is a phenomenal tool though. I do use it a lot as well. But this one's just kind of fun to animate because there's just lots of colors. I don't know. I don't have a good reason. Okay, ping pong. Go to the wrist. That's her right hand. Right hand R. Nope, that's hand left. HL, there it is. With the hand left, we're going to offset the timing so that it happens maybe 2 or 3 frames later. We'll go to our rotation to hit R, and we're going to check our YouTube real quick. Her artwork is light and smooth. The Geeky Kitty on YouTube says that Stephanie Tam's art is light and smooth. There we go. You heard it, folks. The viewers know best. All right, so let's go to the rotation. I put 2 keyframes, just 2 keyframes. The first keyframe I'll leave. No, I'm not going to leave it. I'm going to rotate her wrist up a little bit. And yeah, and then as her paint stroke goes down, I'm also going to rotate her wrist upwards a little bit, as if it's kind of like dragging along. And only once it passes, then I'll have the brush stroke come down afterwards. So it looks something like this. Oh god, that was a really violent brush stroke. I don't want the wrist to like flick. Flicker the wrist. We want it to be a smooth swish and flick. And Guardium Leviosa. We just very swish. There we go, and flick. There's no flick. We're not going to have your wrist flicking around, because then you get paint all over the place. We don't want that. Cool, so that's a nice little movement right there. The wrist, just taking a look at it one more time. We get this nice little movement of that wrist right here. Swish, and ta-da! Kind of get that movement. We will also loop the wrist. Yeah, I'm going to loop the wrist to that timing just because, I don't know. I like the wrist movement now. So we're going to kind of do that with, you guessed it, actually no. Ping pong? Yeah, let's try ping pong. And if it looks weird, I'll try the cycle. Ping pong. Alt click and then paste. All right, here we go. So now we have a cycle where the arm kind of paints up and down. The only thing I'm not liking right now is the movement is very linear based for her wrist rotation. And that's because I forgot to change the keys to ease in and ease out. So I'm going to ease those keyframes so that the wrist is smooth, like her style, according to Joy. So we're going to kind of smooth that out with the keyframe. So now it kind of just eases into the stroke. Ooh, oh no, I screwed up something. Oh, the timing, I messed up the timing. There was like a weird thing where like your arm was flicking because I made it 2 keyframes earlier. Okay, I think that should fix it. Yeah, so one thing you have to be careful when you use looping expression is that everything's the same time. We got 1, 2, 3 frames layer, and then that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, fixed. So now your wrist should flick at the right time. So she kind of paints up and down, up and down. I'm going to give the palette in her left hand a little bit of rotation now so that it kind of just rotates a little bit, very subtle. There's no need to make it excessive, I don't think. So we'll kind of just go to the that wrist in the other hand. Let's look for the arm. Oh no, I want the hand. There, it's the right hand. Oh, I forgot to move. Actually, this one's a weird case. So normally I like to move the anchor point to where it should be rotating from. But since this isn't the hand, this palette would probably rotate from roughly where her thumb is. So I'm gonna just move, I'm gonna grab my anchor point tool, this guy, and we're just gonna move the anchor point to be closer to her thumb. So that when we rotate the palette here, it's gonna rotate kind of from where her thumb is. And that will make it look a little bit better when we move it around. So let's go ahead and do that. Go to the rotation and hit the rotation button, and then go a few frames forward and just kind of rotate it downwards. This one I don't mind it being like kind of randomized, so I'm gonna just, I might even use the wiggle expression, to be honest. Yeah, you know what, yeah, we'll use the wiggle expression. So we'll do the wiggles. W-I-G-G-L-E, wiggle. We'll wiggle it by, let's say maybe 6 degrees every, and how many, oh sorry, the first number is the rate. So we'll have her wrist will rotate 6 times a second. That's a lot. Let's do 2 times a second. Like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Yeah, that seems about right. And then we'll have it rotate by about 15 degrees. So now the color palette kind of just has this little bit of a wiggle. That's actually a little too fast for me. I think I'm going to slow it down from 2 wiggles per second. I love saying that. Wiggles per second. That's an actual term here that we can use when we're animating in After Effects. I'm going to lower the wiggles per second from 2 wiggles per second to maybe 1.3. 1.3 wiggles per second. All right. Cool. Actually, I don't like that one. Let's go 1.5. No, 1.7. There we go. We got 1.7 wiggles per second on the wrist. That looks about right. So now we kind of get this nice little flowing thing here. Cool. So that's kind of what we have so far. Hello, Luke Man. We are live streaming to YouTube, and I'm just going to check on YouTube real quick. Oh, we got some comments. If possible, that when she paints the artwork from the convince appear every time she flicks. Convince. Also, nice Harry Potter reference. Thank you. Let me reread that. If possible, when she paints the artwork from the convince appear every time she flicks. Convince. What's convince? Like ink? I don't think I understand the YouTube comment. Would it be funny if the palette did a last 360 spin? Would it be funny if the palette did a fast 360 spin once in a while? Yes, let's do it. I like that idea. Let's add some more life. So what we'll do is I'll take away, actually we can keep the wiggles per second and you can still animate on top of the wiggles per second. It's crazy. After Effects can do it all. What we'll do is we'll rotate it. We'll do a full 360 spin every 6 seconds. So her wrist can like do a full 360. Wow, that's intense, but it looks cool. Let's slow it down so that, you know, we don't break the wrist too much. We should put some good snapping sound effects. No, I'm just kidding, I won't do that. Here we go. So we got a nice little rotate every once in a while. Oh, I need to add a little bit more frequency to that. Let me just kind of double up the spin. Love the idea, Stephanie. Oh, canvas. Oh, no problem. No problem. Oh no, we got a minute left of the live stream on Instagram, which means we're probably starting to run out of time on YouTube. Let me see what we get on YouTube. Oh, no worries. I should know how to read better. Okay, cool. So now her palette rotates a full 360 every so once in a while, and it will just keep on doing. Oh, okay, I need to fix that. Actually, that didn't look too bad. Kind of just wiggles and randomly rotates every once in a while. Doo-doo. Okay, she's coming to life. Yeah, it looks like we have about a minute and 15 seconds left on the live stream on Instagram. So if you want to continue watching this, I'll try to continue work for about 30 more minutes. We'll be doing it on YouTube. So yeah. All right, let's go ahead and save our project real quick. We got her blinking. I'm going to see if we can move her eyebrows up and down. Whoa, that was a really scary face. I'm not going to do that for a while. What we're going to go do is our eyebrows, and we'll just kind of move their eyebrows up and down. So let's go to our position, and let's just do eyebrows down, eyebrows up, eyebrows down. How now, brow cow? How, brow, 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 brow. There we go. Eyebrows now move. Ooh, too slow though. I didn't realize how weird slow eyebrow movement would look. Eyebrows move pretty fast, don't they? Yeah, they move really fast. Okay. Learn something new every day. Eyebrows. Ooh, I moved them way too low. We'll fix that. Thank you so much for watching on Instagram. I'll see you hopefully on YouTube. Bye-bye. Okay, cool. So we are now just live streaming here on YouTube. No worries. And what we'll do now, what was I doing? Oh, eyebrow movement. We're going to move her eyebrows. I think I moved them a little too much, so I'm going to kind of just move it right back up a little bit right there. Yeah, and then we'll just have that loop every once in a while as well. Loop out. Ping pong. Oh, that's actually a little bit too fast. Maybe I'll do cycle, because I don't want the eyebrows to like zip around. Actually, that's a little too excessive as well. Let's change that cycle so that it's almost as frequent as when the 360 spin happens. Okay, cool. So that's a nice little amount of eyebrow movement. It's very subtle. Nice little blink. All right, let's go ahead and hit save again. Let's now take a look at what she looks like in the scene. All right, cool. So she's just doing a thing. Wow, I like this. All right, so what I'm going to do now, just to add a little bit more movement to our scene, is we're going to use a technique called Turbulence Displacement to make the background kind of move around a lot. So we're going to go to our effects panel and look up an effect called Turbulent Noise or Turbulent Displace. I'm now blanking out. I think it's Displace. Let's do Turbulence Displace, and we'll put this on our background layer. And by default, it kind of just warps your whole background. But that's because it has a default size. So we can increase the size if we want this to be like a liquidy world. But in this case, I want this to look kind of like cell style illustration. And so we're going to make it like a very fine-tuned effect. Very subtle. And we'll just kind of change our little ramp up that. And then what we'll do is we'll animate our evolution over time. And of course, I got another JavaScript expression to throw your way. It's called time. Times any number. This is going to multiply the time of that functionality, in this case, the evolution of the turbulence. So in this case, we can see there's a little bit of movement here. It's a little slow for me. I'm going to actually speed that up a lot. So let's increase that from 200 to maybe like 800, really. Okay, so that's got a lot more movement to the background. And then maybe I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Let me go ahead and loop right here. We'll just loop this 4-second segment. We'll decrease the size from 14 to, let's try 6. Maybe we need even more. That's too much. Or is it? I don't know. Yeah, it's a little too much. Yeah, the live stream did end, but I still have the YouTube one for now. Let's decrease the size of that as well. Let's go maybe to 2. Okay, I like that one. So now this is subtle, but it's adding movement to our background that kind of just ripples in and out, and I like that. Yeah. Maybe see if I even multiply this by a higher number. Let's do 1,300. Cool, so now that all kind of just comes to life right there. We're going to copy this Turbulent Displace, and we're actually going to apply it to other things in our scene, including our paper. Or no. Yeah, we'll add to the paper, but we'll use a much larger one for the paper. Since she didn't have too many sharp lines on the paper, we'll decrease the size. Or sorry, increase the size so that it's just more of a wavy sheet of paper. But that's like ridiculous timing, so let's let's slow down the timing of that paper movement. I'll still use the time offset, but not by a multiple of 1,300. Let's just try 100 and see what that looks like. Even 100 is a little excessive, so let's decrease the amount of warping. That's something. 100 is actually a little slow. Let me actually bring this up to maybe 500 and just have it be very weak interaction. Yeah, because like 20, it's at 33% amount, so let's go to like 12%. See what that looks like. That's still too much. Let's do 6. Keep cutting it roughly in half. I don't even see anything there. Okay, so maybe 6 was too little. Let's bring it up to 10. Huh. I don't see anything. Oh, I deleted the evolution. Don't want to do that. Let's do time times 500. There it goes. So now the paper kind of just has a little bit of wiggling to it, and this is helpful just to, you know, again, add a little bit more movement. It almost looks like a flag. Maybe I'll reduce the rate even more from 500 to 250 so that it's not moving around as much. Yeah, that works for me. Cool. Go ahead and hit save. The next thing I would want to do is maybe have, I mean, initially I wanted to have the unicorn get painted on, but I don't think we have enough time to do that unless we do it in another live stream. I mean, I guess this is almost pretty much done to some degree. Let's see if I'm missing something. Kind of just letting this play out right here and loop it out, see what we're getting. Oh, the background looks nice. Oh wow, yay! Thanks, Joy. Yeah, I'm happy with the way she illustrated this. It looks really cool. Alright, so I think she's pretty much animated then. Only things we could add really would be I don't know. We'll see. I think this might be done. Oops, sorry, there's something going on over there. She's just painting, doing her thing. Oh, the unicorn. Almost forgot. So I'm going to use a similar movement of the background to apply that movement to the actual unicorn, where it's a really fine tooth texture, kind of manipulating its component. So let's grab this layer and just paste it on there. That's really extreme. Let's reduce the size of the turbulence to like 0.4. Oh, it doesn't like that digit. I guess it has to be a whole number. Oh, it doesn't like any of that. What's going on? Effects, turbulence displace. Yeah, that unicorn got really messed up right there. What happened? Oh, let's turn down the amount. Yeah, let's reduce the amount. Even more. You can almost smooth it out. That's too smooth. Let's bring it back up. There we go. All right, so now the unicorn has, if you can see, if I zoom in here, it's got a little bit more movement on there. And then the hair won't do that snap thing. That's just because I have it looping just 10 seconds. We can probably push this out to about 30 seconds and have that be the animation. But I guess this was a quick look at how you would like animate and rig a character inside of Adobe After Effects using a Photoshop file. Hopefully you learned a lot of things, took some notes on those expressions that we used. You know, it's always great to collaborate with people that know what they're doing. And Stephanie definitely does when it comes to her illustration work. So please check out her Instagram, which is linked in the description of this video, or it is StephanieTam.art, I think. I might have messed that up. If I messed it up, it's in the link. It's in the description. But yeah, I think that's about it. All I might do is the little minor touch-ups here and there, maybe add some music, but that's pretty much it. So thank you all so much. Yay, you learned something. That's my goal. And yay. So let me see. I guess I can end the live stream now. Thank you so much for, oops, where's the live stream button? This thing. All right, I'm gonna switch this back. So yeah, that was our goal, was to animate this character, and she's done now. So I'll post this up on Instagram pretty soon. Thank you so much for watching Creativity with DA3 Live, and as always, have a creative and productive day. Bye-bye!